Hi, I'm Mike Brampton.
And my name is Julian Hoad.
Welcome to Veterinary Ramblings.
They say he stitched together more animals than most people have owned. He spent years marching through the corridors of Westminster, politely but persistently, making life rather uncomfortable for anyone standing in the way of better animal welfare. They say he's proof that you can wield a scalpel with one hand and change the law with the other. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Marc Abraham, vet surgeon, animal advocate, Westminster's favourite persistent headache, and OBE.
Hi, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Evening. Is this the hairdressing discussion forum that
Yes.
I've heard so much about?
It is
Hairdressing
yes.
and hats.
We're doing
Love
Marcel's
both of those things.
Marcel's and perms tonight.
Wonderful. Do you want me upright or do you want me horizontal?
Oh no,
Oh.
upright. Yeah, there we go.
Upright?
Other way.
Other way.
That's
You,
great.
you've sort of come across as landscape to us anyway. So I think
Cool.
probably what will happen, and I stand to be corrected, but the producers will cut us and shape us to fit the finished product.
Sure.
I wish they could cut and beat me. I could do with a bit of that, to be honest.
And do they
Well-
do they then apply the hair and the hats?
They
in
do.
Post production.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, I actually had my hair cut today.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
I was admiring the style.
It's nice. Isn't it? I like what they've done with the sideburns there.
Who's shinier?
Yeah. Brave man. Bit of a Mungo Jerry look to you there.
Well,
Brilliant.
it's either you or Julian, I think, in the answer to the who's shinier question. Yeah.
And good to
There
see
you
you.
go.
Mark. Really good
You
to see you.
too. You too.
How are you? You all right?
I'm all right. I'm just enjoying giving story times every day with
Oh.
with one of them.
With one of them.
Snap.
Leon's Yeah. So
It's going
what do you
down really
do?
well, and yeah,
So how are you doing story time then?
going around nurseries, schools, preschools, literary festivals, just literally reading my book out and then signing copies or whatever. But it's fascinating, and I hope we can talk about this a little bit, but it's fascinating because I wrote it in rhyme, how these kids, and some of them 2-3 years old, can anticipate the end of these sentences without ever knowing the book or
it's
seeing the book.
amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I mean,
Captain-
they're looking at the pictures, obviously, but
yeah.
they're engaging, it's landing. It then seeds conversations about kindness, friendship, needing each other, kindness to the environment, plastic pollution, kindness to yourselves, kindness to the teachers. It's really fun. And the book's doing well, and yeah, there you go.
So
Good.
you're-
And
you're
you
on-
did a
you're on
great
tour.
talk to
What's that?
You're on tour at the moment then?
Not really tour. It's more doing as many visits locally as I possibly can, and then listing them all, so it looks like a tour. But I'm just making hay while the sun shines.
Indeed. Oh, well, hey on why, hopefully.
One day it'd be lovely. Yeah.
And
It's all
you did a great talk to my school, for which I couldn't make it, unfortunately. I was
You were in Northern Ireland, I think.
I was, yeah. Our roles kind of reversed. You're normally in the House of Commons, and I was in the Irish equivalent.
Were you in Stormont, were you?
Yeah,
It's lovely there, isn't it?
it's fantastic. Yeah.
It's a beautiful building.
Mm.
Yeah, and they were lovely at West Chiltington. Really, really nice school. I love how it was open plan and they were super friendly. Yeah, I think were they the first to hear it? They were one of the first to hear it.
I think. Well,
First in the UK, maybe.
so Helen Drummond said, the head.
Yeah, really nice they were. I liked it there.
Good.
Nice little drive out into the countryside as well.
It is nice there, isn't it? The school's motto is work hard, play hard, have fun.
Perfect. Simple as that. I've been to so many schools where obviously there's such a range, but the religious ones are a bit scary, I must say.
That's right.
You know this whole 6-7 thing?
Oh,
that
yeah.
the kids go mad for and the teachers hate. I did one school the other day called St. Philomena's. I should have looked at their website. It was God everywhere.
Not the one in Carshorten?
No, the one in Orpington.
Oh, right. My sister went to Philomena's in Carshorten.
It was scary, and I went to
Full
the
of nuns.
year 2, and I said, "How old are you?" And they went 6, 7. I went, "Oh, 6, 7," and they just glared at me, and I was like, "That's not the reaction I normally get." And the teacher said, "We've banned it because we've told the kids that it raises the devil if they do it."
Hang on.
Nothing like fun learning at school, guys.
I'm going to say
Hey.
something pretty contentious here. One of the most evil group of people are nuns. Sorry, Mike.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
I know.
So
I know.
I've retired now. And what is 6'7"?
It was a TikTok meme that started last year, and it sort of caught on. No one really knows what it means, but as soon as you say 6'7" or C67,
People
or
do that.
anyone says in conversation, they do this stupid thing. It winds parents up, it winds teachers up. It means nothing, but it went viral, still is very popular.
I love it. We were doing it tonight at dinner.
There you go.
Just because
Something fun, isn't it?
it's fun. But
In a world of so much stress and horrible stuff.
yeah, why get wound up with that? Nuns do untold harm. They really
You've got
do.
a thing for nuns, haven't you?
I've got a nuns made my sister's life at school miserable. Nuns made my older daughter's life at school miserable, and then closed the school because they could not be bothered to run it anymore. Beginning of COVID, they decided, no, we don't want to. We've had enough of this. We're going to close the school. So they sent out all these 9, 10-year-old kids into the world that was closed and locked down in masks, so they didn't know who they were meeting at new schools. With how much notice do you think?
Go on.
1 day. If that's not
Incredible.
evil, I don't know what is. So there we go.
6'7".
Nuns, get a life. Because you haven't
6'7's
got one.
evil.
6'7's evil.
In some people's eyes and minds, it's related to the devil.
Well, 668 is
Summoning the devil.
668 is the neighbour of the beast, isn't it?
Is that next door neighbour or opposite neighbour?
Next door neighbour, yeah.
Next door neighbour,
Yeah.
yeah.
Opposite 667. Yeah.
So, a stupid question: have we started yet?
We have started, but actually, we've not really started very well, have we? Because we've not introduced ourselves or you, which
So
is very rude.
should we do a proper start then? Because I'm
They will
confused now.
Which is,
And I'm thinking St Philomena's in Orpington are just going to sue me now for defamation, or they'll set the devil on me.
6 or 7 devils on you, I would have thought. 6, 7. So,
sorry.
Marc Abraham, over the years, it is our pleasure and thrill to have you on Veterinary Ramblings tonight.
Hello, Mark.
I'm Julian Hoad.
Hello,
I'm Mike Brampton.
Hello, Julian and Mike. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Now, Mark,
It's all a bit
we've
bloody
met
formal,
before.
isn't it? Hang on. Whoa. Time out.
I was told that this was a very formal podcast. This is why I've dressed up for the occasion.
And it's a nice shirt. So for people who aren't watching this but are listening, Mark, and I don't know how he's doing it in this heat, he's wearing a formal pinstripe 3-piece suit with
Two bow ties.
absolutely beautiful couple of bow ties.
Thank you.
One over the top of his forehead, which I'm not quite sure why, but
It's a Minnie Mouse vibe.
yeah, I thought it was
Right.
really nice polka dots there.
You're welcome.
Fantastic.
Mike, you called a timeout. Why? Why
What?
timeout?
It's the whole serious thing.
No, because we've got to be serious because, as I was going to say, I've met Mark before, and we normally start by asking a bit of a personal question. But I feel a little bit embarrassed about doing that because I've met Mark before, and he knows that I'm not the sort of person who does that very easily. So
Well,
I
that
wonder
should make
whether
it easier, shouldn't it? You should be more relaxed and at home because
I
you've
know
met
I
Mark
should, but
before.
we always
Mark's
ask
been
a bit of
avoiding me for 30 years.
It's a very personal question, Mark, and I'm sorry for this. And you don't need to answer it if you don't want to. We can cut it if you don't like it. But we do. We will be doing some hard hitting stuff tonight, and
Which furniture polish do I use to keep my head?
yeah,
so
absolutely.
shiny?
Is it beeswax
And you're jealous,
or pledge? It's a nice shine on that head.
right?
Pretty
You've
good.
both
that.
got nice shines on your head.
Yeah, Mark, you're sort of matte tonight, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm Matt. You could just.
I thought it was Mike.
Or vinyl silk.
You can see all the scars. I mean, that's. Yeah, maybe
Polar
I need
bear
some
attack.
gloss on there to hide the scars.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll let you into our little secret. I use olive oil on mine,
Okay.
or chip oil.
Yeah.
I don't use napkins. I only wipe my hands on my head. So,
Right.
Mike, could you ask him that question?
Rancid.
We can move on. Just
I thought you were going to ask it.
well, no. Didn't we say last time that you would
Yeah.
ask the next five,
No,
and then
no.
I'll.
Last time we said that you were going to ask it, and you've met Mark. You know Mark, so you've got this easygoing relationship with Mark. You've both been at the highest heights of the establishment across the veterinary world, across the world of politics, and the establishment, and so therefore,
Thing when
perfect.
my throat's closing up a little bit. Can't. Sorry, Mike. Could you? I'll have a sip of water and rest it, but it's.
Julian, this is not a difficult question.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, Julian. You can do this.
Well, no, I can't because I'm drinking.
Oh, okay. He's busy drinking, Mike.
It's pathetic. It's pathetic. This has been going on for 6 years now. 6 years, and he can't ask this bloody question.
Come on, let's have it. How bad can it be?
Marc Abraham, OBE.
Guilty.
What is your favourite bread?
My favourite bread?
Mm.
Probably wholemeal,
Oh.
brown, seeded.
Yeah.
I think Morrison's is sunflower and pumpkin seed. It's the bread I've got in the fridge at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
one you can eat.
Yeah. I think that's I'd say my current bread.
That.
No, it's in a packet. I don't buy things like that. It's way too sophisticated.
I made it.
It's in a loaf.
That's sunflower and sesame seeds, actually.
No, I buy mine. I haven't got time to make bread. You're mental.
It takes no time at all. Well, it does take quite a bit of time, actually. It was good fun.
I appreciate you raising that question, and that was a pun intended.
Oh boy. Oh boy, don't start.
Both using your loaf.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
not trying to think of the others, but
Yeah.
anyway you slice it, yours is best.
There you go.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Please, no.
We better
This
think
is
about
what people tuned in for, isn't it? This is the bread puns.
I think it is, because
Yeah,
we don't
good.
want the conversation to go stale, do we?
Exactly.
Mm.
We also don't want to spread ourselves too thinly.
We don't. Fun
That's
and
more
games.
of a butter pun, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
What are those? What are those dogs that look a bit like small fox hounds? Bagels, aren't they?
That's it. Bagels.
Yeah.
That's the puns.
For our American listeners, we are, of course, referring to beagles and not the unleavened patisserie that you get from the...
And quite a lot of those dogs are inbred as well.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, fantastic!
That's
And
brilliant. Yeah,
And that would segue quite nicely, wouldn't it?
I was going to say, I want to hear about you going undercover. Actually, I want to hear about the hat you wore when you went undercover in a movie called Dogspiracy.
The hat I wore.
Yeah, a long beanie hat. It was sort of a grey, green.
Yes, so
very
sort of
nice.
an olive green beanie. It's my sort of winter wardrobe. Yeah,
Yeah.
wore that to the Amish puppy mills in Lancaster County in Pennsylvania.
That looked
Really
weird. That was
it was exhilarating. Better than that, though, I think, was wearing a wire to some of the pet stores with the high security that sell puppies that have actually all closed down now. But that
as
was
a
quite
result of what you
exciting.
did.
A bit of both, but I can't take all the credit. But I love the thing about wearing a wire is you have to keep the conversation going long enough to get all the information out before they realise that you're wearing a wire. And it's quite exhilarating as an understatement. I managed both without them realising, but you're constantly thinking at any point now they're going to see something that's going to make them uncomfortable and question and maybe call security. So that was cool. Undercover on the puppy mills was fantastic in one way, but terribly sad in another, but great to be in a position to expose and to raise awareness and hopefully change legislation over there and other stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a weird career.
Tell,
The
tell,
the
tell us more.
Amish.
Tell
Well, I
us
was going to say
more about this.
the Amish thing really I found quite strange because you don't normally associate that sort of culture with being quite as deviant.
So,
Well,
well, obviously, it's mainly a arable farming community. They have these huge silos full of grain, like the movie The Witness, which
hmm,
people of our age will remember. I think it was Harrison Ford and Kelly McGillis, I think,
Yeah.
and that was kind of a kind of an insight behind the scenes of the Amish community, which are very, very famously secretive. They're a real closed gang. They're unbelievably religious. They're nice people. However, they do breed a lot of puppies for pet stores or to sell online. The reason they're giving is because they like to show their kids how life comes into the world. They make a lot of money through their farming. So
hmm,
I don't think they need the money, but they like breeding dogs to show how life comes into the world. They are open to doing it better.
hmm,
And there are, I mean, Grace in the movie I mean, she's incredible. She makes the movie, but she drives every day to different Amish puppy mills and she rescues dogs and puppies and ex-breeding bitches.
hmm.
But she is now educating or arranging education to make them better dog breeders and also to encourage them to sell direct to the public rather than go through third parties. So
Right.
work is being done and they are open to learning and being educated and being better
Hmm.
at breeding dogs, which is a huge progress to be
Yeah.
able to influence a closed community like that. So they are a good people. They just need a bit of sort of direction and
Okay.
help and support. Yeah. And
Right.
that
So,
movie has really been a part of that, of opening those channels to making that happen,
Hmm.
which is great. And mainly Grace, but being able to, I mean, Grace was absolutely honest with them and said, look, we have been filming, and one of the puppy millers did actually invite us onto the property. So she was able to tell them they weren't mad. They were like, are we a puppy mill then? And she was like, well, kind of, yeah. Well, we don't want to be a puppy mill. So that kind of opened the door, as I say, to her then going, right, let's get some vets and vet nurses and professionals in to educate and help you and support you and turn you into not being puppy millers and actually to be responsible breeders. So it has enabled that process to happen, which I'm obviously incredibly proud of.
Well,
okay,
that's
so
fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, this is a movie called Dogspiracy, isn't it? Which is an undercover exploration and exposure of puppy mills in America.
Yes, it's a movie documentary. It's
Yeah.
97 minutes long. It took about 2 3 years to make. Paul was the director. We travelled America. We went to obviously the main undercover stuff was filmed in Pennsylvania and the Amish communities, but we also filmed in Washington, in Maryland, in where else did we go? In Wales, in Westminster. It starts in the UK and then goes to America and then comes
Hmm.
back to the UK. It's kind of a behind the scenes look at how hard and frustrating campaigning for change is. We interview MPs here. We interview charity leaders. I interview senators in the states. It was a fascinating project. It was an incredible uh, part of my career that I'm incredibly proud of. It's now available to stream. It's been available to stream here for about a year on Amazon Prime and Apple and YouTube. It's now available to stream in the US on all the channels and all the streamers. And I recently went to the States. We did screenings in San Francisco, LA, and New York, followed by Q&As with certain charities and partnerships. And it's helping to educate. Hopefully, it's helping people or inspiring people to campaign. That
Hmm.
we've all got a kind of responsibility to step up for the most vulnerable. So animals in this case, but also we can all do something to help the elderly or disabled or children or just vulnerable communities, whether they're two-legged or four-legged. So it encompasses quite a lot of information in a really nice, viewable way that doesn't shock. It's very watchable. And as I say, I'm incredibly proud of it. To sit in front of a senator in the parliamentary state capital of Pennsylvania in Harrisburg, and sort of quiz them and interview them. There's nothing sort of doorstepping where we turn up with a film crew, because I think that's incredibly stressful for the viewer and incredibly stressful for any business or anyone on the receiving end of that, even if they're doing the most wonderful work. No one likes a film crew turning up. So we dealt with that by emailing the people that were complicit in obstructing progress in legislation, getting the no thanks. So, spoiler alert, American Kennel Club and certain members of the Harrisburg parliamentary setup, and then just holding up the email to the camera. So they're named plus their response. It's a lot less stressful, quicker. We can just get on with the story. Anyway, there you go. Documentary, Dogspiracy, enjoy it.
Yeah, I've only seen clips of it, I must admit, at the moment, so I shall watch the whole thing in
Yeah,
full,
enjoy. Yeah.
which is why I got the wrong end of the stick, I think, about the Amish community. It sounds like, as you say, they were hapless in it. They had no idea that they were doing harm, and I suppose they looked upon it as a bit of a God-given benefit that they could get a bit of money out of this as well.
Probably, yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, and
When,
now they've been exposed, and not, that their methods have been highlighted on film. So, as we've seen in this country with the post office scandal, sometimes it takes the media to expose and for change to happen. Fine.
indeed. Is it going to happen in Wales?
It's happened in Wales. It's happening in Wales. Obviously, banning third parties means that anyone who breeds dogs has to be transparent, has to show the breeding mums, has to show the place they were born. So a lot of the puppy farms either just stopped and just concentrated on cattle and sheep, which they were doing anyway, or they turn their breeding premises into public facing, tidying up and being presentable. I think it's important to note that just because laws are changed, and I've got my official Lucy's Law rosette here, I brought it with
Yeah.
me, doesn't mean everyone starts behaving themselves. People still speed, people still shoplift, people still do horrible things that are illegal. However, first of all, legislation comes with an awareness. So prospective dog owners are going along to expect to see the mum. Breeders are having to provide the mum. So again, you've got this sort of awareness and behaviour change. You can retrospectively prosecute with DNA. So if it isn't the mum, or it's a fake mum, or sometimes they bring a dog out that's a dad, and there's a problem with the pup, you can actually retrospectively prosecute. But my point being, as soon as you change a law, there's a legislative framework where you can investigate and prosecute, and you can have deterrence rather than nothing. So changing the law doesn't mean everyone starts behaving themselves and the problem's gone. It just means it's harder to perform that problem. And there's obviously accountability, which is the main reason we did it. Lucy's Law was really the first step in accountability for breeders.
Do you want to tell us a bit more about Lucy's Law?
Yeah, so as I say, this is the official rosette. That's Lucy in the middle, Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, rescued from a legal licensed puppy farm in Wales. And basically, I was on call in my emergency clinic in 2009, or do we say 2009? Who knows? I was working a night shift, saw 8 puppies coming in with parvo. 6 made it, 2 sadly didn't. For me, there was an injustice in people spending thousands of pounds on a puppy and then getting seriously ill and potentially dying. I went on undercover then, found out where they were all coming from. Every one of those 8 puppies came from a different subscribing practice, which was weird. And obviously, we know that in practice, we don't really see parvo that much. So 8 cases in one night is quite a big deal. So I went undercover. Turned out that they were all being sold from a third-party dealer operating out of a stable block not far from where I live in Brighton. So I got all the paperwork in from all these owners and peeled off all stickers and all the rest of it. And it turns out they were all from not just this breeder, but they were all from a legal licensed puppy farm in Wales, in Carmarthenshire. And I just thought, this isn't right. The government advice at the time was to always see puppy interacting with mum in the place they were born. Obviously, that's the golden rule. However, the same government was licensing third-party commercial dealers to sell the puppy remotely without mum. So it's like, how can you be advising against your own licensing system?
Sure.
So the hypocrisy was at the top. And from my background, which we may mention, as my grandma was a Holocaust survivor, an escapee, and I think I've always got injustice and trying to sort of look out for the most vulnerable running through my veins, always have done. So this injustice didn't sit right with me. So I didn't know about campaigning, I didn't know about politics, I didn't know about law, I'd never been to Westminster, apart from maybe to visit Big Ben as a kid. But I just knew I had to do something about it. I had a media profile, I was doing Paul O'Grady's show, and I was doing some other silly stuff like This Morning and BBC Breakfast, and I thought, what can I possibly do? And because I was a TV vet and there weren't many of us around, at the time I was being called to do loads of judging of charity dog shows across the country, and I realised the public come out, whatever the weather, for dog shows, and they want a rosette, child's best friend, the novelty, silly stuff, nothing like championship stuff. And I just thought, if I can get celebrities to come and judge a dog show, then that pulls in the media. The dog show is an awareness raiser, not a fundraiser. And the awareness is puppy farming, the awareness is rescue, and the awareness is responsible breeding. So that's what I did. And I called it Pup Aid as a nod to Live Aid. And we did 3 in Brighton, we did 7 in Primrose Hill in London, Ricky Gervais, Liam Gallagher, Brian May, Joanna Page, Elle Macpherson, Sarah Harding. I mean, it was incredible over the years. It was a social event. People could come, people could go. It was free. As I say, it was an awareness raiser, not a fundraiser. Sue Perkins, Rachel Riley. Anyway, my point being, that was raising awareness and it was doing a lovely job one day of the year. However, obviously the rest of the year, it was kind of a free-for-all for people. So I was called to Caroline Lucas, who I don't know if you remember was a Green MP. She's not an MP anymore. She was Brighton. A few years before, she'd helped judge one of the first dog shows in Brighton. She then, a few years later, said, can you come and talk to my family about which dog to get? And I convinced them that get a rescue. They ended up getting a black lab. And she said, how's your campaign? I said, well, it's okay one day of the year, but the rest of the year, it's, people are still buying puppies from pet shops and third-party dealers. She said, come to Westminster, we'll have a chat. So I went up to Westminster. I always use this as an analogy. It was like that scene in Gladiators where the slaves go to Rome and they look up at the Colosseum and they're like, what? That was me in Westminster. What am I doing here? The imposter syndrome was at its peak. Never really left, but I quite like that. What's a vet doing in that place? I mean, don't tell Janny Chambers or Neil Hudson. Obviously, that's their job. But at the time, what am I doing there? As a sort of nerdy, geeky child whose best friends were tadpoles and caterpillars, I'm now in the mother of all democracies, having meetings with MPs. She convinced me to do an e-petition to ban third-party sales, got the 100,000, which back then was quite a big deal because we didn't really have the sharing abilities we do now on social media. We lost that first debate, found out there were dark forces sort of behind the scenes, for example, the pet industry, some of the biggest charities, the government, even though I had 94 MPs at the time, cross-party support, celebrity support, all the rest of it. And then I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I carried on campaigning. We had the select committee on board. As I say, we had celebrity support, Ricky Gervais. We had everything. I call it in one of my books, the ambush. We ambushed the chief decision maker with the e-petitions and all the parliamentary tools and levers available to give that chief decision maker nowhere to move. Turns out, at the end of the day, they still said no because they were being lobbied by 2 of the biggest animal welfare charities in the UK. I then had to construct the all-party parliamentary group for dog welfare just to have a meeting to bring those charities in and to basically give statements, which 2 of them were lying. And I had the briefing in my pocket, expose them in a room full of campaigners and journalists. In that moment, the power shifted to the campaigners, obviously. And then we rebranded the campaign to ban commercial sales of puppies and kittens, to commercial third-party sales, to Lucy's Law, after Lucy, who was a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, with a Facebook page of about 74,000 likes, which in 2014, 15 was quite a big deal. And she became the figurehead. And then our campaigners, we were six of us, not really knowing what we were doing, but making it up as we went along, kind of filed behind Lucy, and she led us over the line. By rebranding to Lucy's Law and having a backstory in her face, that was the game changer, 100%, and very hard to ignore. Plus, we had the power now because we'd exposed the charities who were complicit in blocking us. And we were victorious, and they gave us a garden party at number 10. The best thing about that being we had ex-breeding dogs from Welsh puppy farms running around the garden of number 10, and the kitchen of number 10 had baked bone-shaped treats for these dogs. So they'd gone from these hellholes in Wales.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows what puppy farms are who's watching or listening, to one of the most prestigious, famous addresses in the world. And they're having these treats baked for them. And that, for me, was probably the most moving part. And I gave a speech, a bit like Burnham the other day, with no lectern, gave a speech outside number 10, which, again, is like, what am I doing? Holding an ex-rescue breeding dog. And to a packed Downing Street of all the campaigners who'd just come out of the garden party. So I've done mad stuff. But I often wonder, if I hadn't been on call that night, would any of this have happened? It's a proper sliding doors moment, But I'm glad it did.
It is a sliding doors moment, but I don't think, well, certainly not every vet would have done it, and done it, if I may say, as well as you did.
Thank you.
So it was fortuitous that it was you that it happened to.
Yeah,
I can see a tiny percentage of vets might have taken it further. A very, very tinier percentage may even have met the Green Party politician and maybe got the bill through. But then they wouldn't have persisted after it got knocked back the first.
It was. I remember being told very early on in my parliamentary journey that you will win this by attrition.
Right.
And I cannot agree with that more. I mean, I was lucky. I mean, Brighton's only an hour away from Parliament, so I used to go up every Tuesday. I was practicing full time then. I used to go up. Tuesday was my day off. I'd go to Westminster. I'd have meetings all day, or go to receptions, or whatever I could do in a day in Westminster. And I worked out that in the 6 years of parliamentary campaigning, the campaign itself was 10 years long. In the 6 or 7 years, 7 years of parliamentary campaigning, too many school visits, I probably went about 300 times to Westminster.
Gosh.
And got to know, obviously I had no background knowledge of how the place worked, but slowly you work it out. And I played a lot of chess with my dad when I was younger, and about the long game, about you need to get somewhere, and you're just prepared to be patient. There's a lovely fish in the swamps in South America that sits under the surface, and it waits until its prey, a bug, sits on a leaf, and it can calculate the refractive index to shoot a jet of water. For me, that's campaigning. You wait and wait and wait until your target is in reach. And your target is often an MP that disagrees with you, or an organisation that's not on board yet, or a minister that needs convincing. And you wait, and then you sort of you make your play, and you sort of try and persuade and turn them. And that's, for me, that's campaigning. You've got to be so patient. If you go full guns blazing into an MP and email them, say, that's wrong, you're a prick, sort that out, they're going to go, what? How? And you go, I don't know, just do it. And you'll never hear from them again.
No,
if you go, this is the problem, here's the solution, it's relatively inexpensive, if not free. I mean, Lucy's Law is policing by consent, so it's policed by the public. And you go, this is the solution, and we can work together to get there. And campaigning, especially in Parliament, is really providing those parliamentarians with the tools to look good while you're doing all the work. So you make them look good. Hold a placard that says, I love rescue dogs. Takes them 2 seconds, makes them look like they care, off they go again. But you've constructed that moment. So parliamentary campaigning is a game, really, but you can't do it with an ego, because you're giving them the power and you're giving them all the appearance of caring, looking good, doing all the work, but you don't care, because as long as you can get to that end point, which is your solution, everyone's
Yeah.
everyone's invited, and it is stressful. It can be fun, and you do have a few perks along the way. So yeah, it's, I wouldn't change anything that's happened until now. I think it's just been, and obviously I run the all-party parliamentary group for dog welfare now, which came from that campaign. Now it's 10 years old next year. I sit in Parliament in these incredible committee rooms, like you came, Julian.
Yeah.
Between 150, 200 people coming from all around the country. I sit in Winston Churchill's chair where he briefed the MPs during the Second World War. I'm like, what am I doing here? However, I'm doing something that I'm comfortable with now. I still have the imposter syndrome, as I mentioned, and I love that because I think it keeps it really exciting and adrenaline. But my job is really, I've got 8 speakers, 4 either side, who've never spoken in Parliament before. And my job is really to make them feel comfortable and at ease and relaxed enough to deliver a 10-minute presentation, which they all do, and they all smash, and they all really enjoy it. And I love that.
I saw you do that very well at the IHA launch.
Yeah. Yes, and I like facilitating. I like facilitating change, but I also like making people feel welcome and feel relaxed and feel confident. And I think, especially in those rooms, they can be so intimidating if you've never even been there before, let alone speaking there. But I like the way you can just feel how people are just enjoying it and relaxing and doing their best. And at the end of the day, it's kind of, for me, it's the level before a select committee that we're airing issues, we're bringing in experts, and there's MPs in the room who can then take it to the next level. So we're at the lowest rung of the ladder in terms of legislation. And I think what Lucy's Law did and is still doing, and AppDorg, which is the all-party parliamentary group, it's showing that grassroots campaigning can be successful. So why not give it a go, rather than the government, who traditionally sort of listen to the biggest stakeholders, who are traditionally the industry or the biggest organizations. So we're giving a voice to the masses rather than just certain organizations are allowed to have their voice heard. Yeah.
And I want to really go in all sorts of directions at the moment, but I'm very eager to know more about these charities that were against it.
Don't
presumably,
name them.
Tell us.
Don't name them.
Listen, the beef is now all sorted. It wasn't for a long time. It was, and there was various various reasons why, and I always think it's because the pet industry was so adamant that they didn't want this law to pass, and I believe that they feared that if you ban puppies and kittens from pet shops, it's going to lead to rabbits, it's going to lead to guinea pigs. It's a slippery end of the slope, or a thin end of the wedge, whatever you want to call it. And I get that, because some of the big pet superstores would just turn into warehouses full of dog food and accessories, which would be a nightmare for them, really, in terms of footfall and all the rest of it. So I think the big charities who were against and were successful in blocking to some extent were put up by the pet industry to block. I don't think they really wanted to. I think that was what was going on. But we navigated around it, and yeah, I mean, now it's history. As I say, now we're all friends, and now we can all move on. And I support them, and they support what I do. So, yeah, it was a very stressful time though, and it was quite the reveal to realise that was going on behind the scenes.
It sounds it, and nothing is ever as simple, is it, as we think?
No, it really isn't.
Charities rely on money to work, and presumably, if someone comes along and says to you, I can give you 1 million tins of dog food at a massively reduced rate, but by the way, I can only do that if I'm going to carry on selling puppies, then a charity's got to think, we need those.
There was all sorts of shenanigans going on behind the scenes. But yeah, as I say, that door's closed now. We've all moved on, and thankfully, and again, it's given value to the grassroots campaigners. rather than being part of an organisation that the government has traditionally always listened to over anyone else. And I did bring this with me as well because I thought you may mention it.
Yes. Do you know
Oh,
I
very
think I told you my
nice.
uncle has an OBE,
But
and
oh, nice. But
uh,
this really for me represents the grassroots campaigners. It shines a light on the unbelievable amount of unpaid work and passion
mm,
and commitment going on across the country, across the world, really, which never gets paid, but it certainly rarely gets recognised. So this was really for my team and any other team fighting to protect the most vulnerable.
and
You
do you know
know,
that this is a similar thing to what my uncle says? I said
yeah.
he's got one,
Tell me about your uncle.
and he never says I've got an OBE. He says, you know, my team
100%.
were
Yeah.
awarded this OBE that I now have,
Yeah.
and it's it is a very special thing.
Yeah.
You know, people get quite snooty about OBE, but better than you should be kind of thing. But actually, no, not better than you should be. Recognised for being as good as you are, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think I've mentioned that a lot of vets wouldn't have done it. We're not helping with puppies. We're not helping with inherited or innate health assessments. We're a profession that is very hypocritical, and I'm one. You know, I love doing BOAS surgery. It's great fun, and what a difference you can make to the lives of those individual dogs. They come in and they go out and they can run and they can play, and I get a great sense of job satisfaction about doing that. But should I just say, actually, no? Do you know? I'm not going to correct your dog. We're going to euthanize your dog, because it's it's a congenital abnormality that is causing harm, and we want to rid the world of these harmful extreme conformations.
I mean, as long as you're not, I mean, I think correcting the dog and just not breeding from it is the compromise there.
So what I did was I charged
I'll
when I
do
had
the
my own
BOAS
practice.
surgery as long as I can spay it.
Yes, and I charged less if I neutered the dog at the same time.
There you go.
And the
Yeah.
clients will always say, "You got it the wrong way around, haven't you?" No, 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 no. And that's kind of how I justified it. But okay, I gave an extreme example. I don't think as a profession we're helping as much as we could do. So what can we do? Tell us.
I think it's hard because people have made that decision and then they come to us.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think you know, if you're sort of castigating or criticizing someone when they come in with their brand new puppy, they'll never come in again. And you need that relationship, you need the dialogue, you need them as a client so you can help that dog. I think it's always been difficult to give advice pre-purchase. And I think in an ideal world, absolutely in an ideal world, that prospective dog owners or cat owners would come to us first and ask our advice.
mm,
But then also, what I've learned over the last few years in my wisdom, there is definitely a proportion of people that just don't care. They don't
mm,
care about where their dog comes from. They don't care how their dog breathes or looks. Well, they obviously care how it looks, but they don't care about the detrimental welfare effects. They don't care where meat comes from that they eat. They don't care. Do you know what I mean?
mm.
There's a proportion of people that I don't think you can educate, or it's really hard to get to reach them. Obviously, you've got TikTok, you've got Instagram, you've got
Yeah,
influencers, celebrity trends. That's the most important thing to a lot of people. But there are definitely people that want to be informed, educated,
mm,
advised, and they'll always come. But there's never enough. So I think we have to keep those dialogue channels open. It's not ideal when they come with a one of these furry, hairy Frenchies, or I mean, now the extremes are becoming extreme because it's
yeah.
obviously not enough to have an extreme. We need
Mm.
it furry, and we need this, and we need weird colours. And I don't think we can close the communication channels as soon as they come in.
No.
We can say, I'm a bit surprised that you've got this dog because of this, this, and that, and that. You can't say disappointed. It's a bit like campaigning. When you have emails with MPs, you can't say I'm disappointed because you'll just cut that off. But if you can say surprised, and that keeps the communication channel open. Same in practice. I'm a bit surprised that you got this dog. However, you have now, and we'll work with what we've got. And I think it's up to us to just be there, prioritize the dog, really. But those communication channels, which I think as a profession we have to protect at all costs, because that's the only dialogue that's ever going to help that animal, are the most important things. And we may not disagree with choices. We may be horrified at some choices, but we have to just block out all those things and just focus on what's best for the animal at all costs. And that's the oath that we took in the first place.
Above all, do no harm. You're absolutely right. I endeavour to do the best for the animals under my care.